The 15th century. Imagine a world on the cusp of great change. Europe was buzzing with a thirst for knowledge, wealth, and adventure. This era, known as the Age of Exploration, saw brave sailors venturing into the unknown. They sailed across vast oceans, driven by curiosity and ambition. Their goal? To discover new lands, new routes to the east, and unimaginable riches. What fueled this insatiable desire to explore? For starters, Europe craved the spices and silks of the east. These luxury goods were highly prized, and new trade routes promised immense wealth. Technological advancements like the compass and improved shipbuilding made long voyages possible. And let's not forget the powerful influence of religion. Spreading Christianity to new lands was a driving force for many explorers. This period marked a turning point in human history. The world was about to get much smaller, and the consequences would be felt for centuries to come. From the shores of Europe to the Americas and beyond, the Age of Exploration would forever reshape the map of the world. Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer sailing for Spain, is a name etched in history books. In 1492, he embarked on a daring voyage that would change the course of human history. Columbus set sail westward across the Atlantic, convinced he could find a shorter route to Asia. Little did he know, he was about to stumble upon a whole new continent. Columbus and his crew landed on an island in the Caribbean Sea, believing they had reached the East Indies. They called the native people they encountered Indians, a misconception that persists to this day. Columbus made several more voyages to the Americas, claiming lands for Spain and establishing the first European colonies in the New World. While hailed as a visionary explorer, Columbus's legacy is complex and controversial. His voyages marked the beginning of European colonization of the Americas, resulting in the displacement, enslavement, and death of countless indigenous people. The exchange of goods, plants, animals, and diseases between the Old World and the New World, known as the Columbian Exchange, had a profound impact on both hemispheres. While Columbus sailed west, another intrepid explorer, Vasco da Gama of Portugal, set his sights eastward. Da Gama's mission was to find a sea route to India, bypassing the traditional land routes controlled by Arab traders. In 1498, after a perilous journey around the southern tip of Africa, da Gama achieved his goal, landing in Calicut, India. This historic voyage opened up a direct sea route to Asia, giving Portugal a foothold in the lucrative spice trade. Da Gama's success paved the way for Portuguese dominance in the Indian Ocean, leading to the establishment of trading posts and colonies along the coasts of Africa and Asia. Da Gama's voyages had a significant impact on global trade, shifting the balance of power from the east to the west. The Portuguese, and later other European powers, would establish vast maritime empires, connecting distant corners of the world through trade and commerce. Section 4. Empires of Exploration. The rise of colonial powers. The Age of Exploration wasn't just about individual explorers. It was about the rise of powerful European nations, eager to expand their influence and wealth. Spain, Portugal, England, France, and the Netherlands all joined the race for colonies, driven by a potent mix of economic ambition, religious zeal, and national pride. Spain, flush with gold and silver from its American colonies, established a vast empire stretching from Mexico to South America. Portugal, with its control of the spice trade, built a network of trading posts and colonies along the coasts of Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. England, France, and the Netherlands followed suit, establishing colonies in North America, the Caribbean, and parts of Asia. These colonial empires brought about profound changes to the world. They facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures on an unprecedented scale. But they also came at a steep human cost, as indigenous populations were often subjected to violence, displacement, and exploitation. Section 5. The human cost of conquest, colonialism, and indigenous cultures. The arrival of Europeans in the Americas, Africa, and Asia had a devastating impact on indigenous populations, driven by a sense of superiority and a thirst for land and resources. European colonizers often viewed native peoples as obstacles to be overcome or resources to be exploited. Disease, warfare, and forced labor decimated indigenous populations, shattering their cultures and ways of life. In the Americas, the introduction of European diseases, such as smallpox and measles, to which indigenous populations had no immunity, wiped out entire civilizations. The transatlantic slave trade, a horrific chapter in human history, forcibly transported millions of Africans to the Americas to work on plantations, tearing apart families and communities. The cultural impact of colonialism was equally profound. European languages, religions, and customs were often imposed on indigenous populations, leading to the suppression and sometimes eradication of traditional beliefs and practices. The legacy of this cultural clash continues to resonate today, as many indigenous communities struggle to preserve their heritage and reclaim their identities. Section 6. A World Transformed. The Legacy of Global Trade. The age of exploration ushered in a new era of global trade, connecting distant corners of the world in unprecedented ways. Goods, plants, animals, and ideas flowed between continents, enriching some societies while exploiting others. The Columbian Exchange, for instance, introduced new crops like potatoes and tomatoes to Europe, revolutionizing agriculture. But it also brought diseases that devastated indigenous populations in the Americas. The spice trade, once controlled by Arab and Venetian merchants, shifted to Portuguese, Dutch, and English hands, generating enormous wealth for these European powers. The demand for sugar, tobacco, and cotton fueled the transatlantic slave trade, forever linking the economies of Europe, Africa, and the Americas in a web of exploitation. This era of global trade laid the foundation for the interconnected world we live in today. It fostered economic growth, cultural exchange, and technological innovation. However, it also exacerbated global inequalities, creating lasting disparities between the haves and have-nots. Section 7. Echoes of Empire Colonialism's Lasting Impact. The age of exploration and the era of colonialism it spawned have left an indelible mark on the world. The political boundaries, economic systems, and cultural landscapes of many nations are directly shaped by their colonial pasts. While colonialism officially ended in the 20th century, its legacy continues to influence global affairs. The economic disparities between former colonial powers and their former colonies persist, a stark reminder of the exploitative nature of colonialism. Many developing nations still struggle to overcome the challenges of poverty, inequality, and political instability rooted in their colonial histories. Movements for social justice, reparations, and decolonization continue to challenge the legacies of colonialism, demanding recognition of past wrongs and a more equitable future. The age of exploration reminds us that human history is a complex tapestry woven from threads of exploration, innovation, conquest, and exploitation. It is a story of both progress and tragedy, of human ambition and its unintended consequences. As we grapple with the challenges of the 21st century, it is essential to learn from this tumultuous past and strive to create a more just and equitable world for all.